So remember last week we were talking about Meter Planet and you guys were saying it wasn't a hotel?
Yeah.
It was a hotel.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Anyway, we're live.
That's unbelievable. I don't know if I believe that. I'll tell you what I do believe. That today's Tuesday, and it's actually a Tuesday, unlike last week, which is also kind of Tuesday, but not really Tuesday. You just saw us on Tuesday, but we actually did on
Every
Monday.
week we film on Tuesday, it's live.
Yeah, but this is actual Tuesday, which is wild because because it's Tuesday, we're going to have events that are up to date as of Tuesday, the 2nd of September.
Yeah, not talk about things and then the Bitcoin price had dumped and we were like, yeah, Bitcoin's kind of normal. Like, no, it wasn't.
Things will be actually live. So we have some awesome stuff this week. Wait, and even better. Wait. We're live. The wonders of...
So last week you said the Meter Planet wasn't it? No.
So we've wrapped up August. August was a great month for Bitcoin. We saw all-time highs before retracing somewhat 13%.
Yep.
We've seen some other stuff. The Jackson Hole Fizzer, that was not very notable, but I've mentioned it anyway.
It's a real pump and dump scheme, that one.
Yeah, totally. Ethereum, the mysterious Bitcoin whale has done his bidding and has bought his Ethereum. Continued.
Yeah.
And Trump has been talking up this week, Bitcoin to $1 million, not unfortunately the Don, the son of Don.
But to be honest, I would take, if Donald Trump Sr. had said something like that, I'd be like, whatever. The guy just loves talking.
Yeah, so we've got to get in that. Tether is now on Bitcoin. ETF's going absolutely mad. Yeah. And there's a Satoshi film coming up. You reckon you'll get a role on that?
Not that one specifically, but apparently there was another Bitcoin-related film that I was earmarked for.
Really?
Whether I would be playing myself in it or that get some other actor like, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio or whatever, it doesn't matter, to play me.
Well, this is news to me.
Yeah, I know. It's I don't think it's happening.
And I haven't prepared for this.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to respond. You okay?
Yeah, it's through a mutual friend. We can talk about it later. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything.
Oh. Well, you should have said nothing before you said something.
Great content.
Great. We are seasoned professionals. All right, we're going to do a summary from the OTC desk. So precious metals are becoming more precious somehow. Gold prices have been pumping, trading up. Silver also 14-year high.
Yep, $40 for silver. Amazing.
Yeah, precious metal guys, Peter Schiff, loving it, obviously. But Bitcoin's obviously doing pretty well as well. In fact, as we're speaking now, it's around about almost back to 170,000. And it dipped a bit lower than that, but we're good. So what's the go with precious metal? Oh, Lisa Cook, the one that Trump threatened to sue. She's involved somehow. Talk us through the story.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke about the Lisa Cook stuff last week. So Lisa Cook is on the Federal Reserve Board, so the big central bank in the US. Trump has claimed that there's some kind of fraud, that she's done some kind of fraud, basically. And as far as I know, without actually going through the court process, has gone, right, that's it. I've seen enough evidence. I'm convinced and fired her, or said she should resign at least. And then she was like, what are you talking about? I'm not leaving. Like Leonardo DiCaprio again is back. Well, I'm not leaving. And she was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. This is ridiculous. To be honest, that's the last I heard of it. I don't know if anything ever eventuated out of that. I assume there's going to be some kind of longer process. But this kind of, this concept of firing someone is not foreign to Trump. So I'm assuming he knows what to do to get it done, whether or not it's lawful. I suppose it'll come out later, but
it doesn't matter with Trump.
For now, he loves taking the headlines, and everyone's sort of. I know there's a lot of talk about how the Federal Reserve is becoming less and less independent, and yet that is its mandate to be independent from the White House, right. Which is concerning to me anyway. I think these things absolutely should be independent. Otherwise, you start manipulating things to make sure you get re-elected, which is the obvious logical outcome for something like this. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Like if she's out and then Trump's able to appoint, one of his cronies into that position, and he's sort of, got more than 50% sway or whatever, there's some like critical number he can get. that supposedly allows him to sort of push people around and make decisions more unilaterally than how it used to be done. It's kind of that's the unprecedented. We'll see what happens.
Unprecedented. Trump and unprecedented go together. And the gold and the precious gold and silver thing. What's
yeah? I
what's
mean,
the
this
story
is
there?
just a classic. You know, gold has been going from strength to strength for quite a while now. Silver has, I guess, historically, I think a lot of the silver guys were sitting there looking at the $40 price and going, you know, this is where we need to get to, and they spent a lot of time getting there, but they've got there now. And as far as I can tell, sort of momentum is behind these, you know, like in crypto, sort of everything falls down the risk, like it cascades down the risk line, if you know what I mean. So, you know, you start with Bitcoin, then you get Ethereum, then altcoins. Same with, like, we've got gold going from strength to strength. Silver's now doing it. Will we see silver get to $50? You know, maybe sooner than you think. I don't know. Not financial advice. But yeah, it's just in my mind, this is just all the erosion of purchasing power of the USD, right? Inflation has been here for long enough. People are less and less confident in the ability of the US dollar to remain the reserve currency. You know, and they're trying to get out into something more hard, like gold or Bitcoin.
Well, that's what I was kind of wondering. Is this you know, the TA bros on there just like looking at charts, or is this a deeper underlying thematic of
TA? Yeah, I don't think so. TA bros. I mean, you can get the TA bros that look at the real long cycle, like, you know, 4 to 8 year to 16 year cycles kind of thing, and they exist. But I think a lot of the TA stuff, people are looking for quick wins. This is more fundamental moves, I think. When you get this kind of gold, something like gold pushing to all-time highs is a pretty big deal because the market cap is so high. It's difficult to move the market. You know, you have to buy. There has to be like a real underlying theme of, you know, bidders sitting there and buying, like to make a move. And we've seen it. So
yeah, interesting.
What comes next? Bitcoin, hopefully.
Bitcoin next. Well, not after old mate, the Bitcoin whale. So this mysterious Bitcoin whale, so it's been a story now for at least a week and a half. There was this guy, this Bitcoin whale, who sold 20,000 Bitcoin, just smashed sell on a DEX. Incredible story. That's definitely unprecedented, a huge move. But then he went and turned and just bought a bunch of ETH.
Yeah.
And he, you know, I think in our headlines we referred to the after the Jackson Hole thing there being some dump, but it's actually just the end of the God candle of this huge buy, as far as I can tell. Or is there more to this?
Yeah, I think so. Last week we spoke about it. The dump that came after, as far as I can tell, was basically people realizing that it was just one actor doing these trades, and, you know, buying a whole lot of Ethereum, and then like, okay, so it's not some kind of institutional, like the gold buy, I guess, you know, someone, because Ethereum's market cap is so small relatively, people can move, you know, the price can be moved by one actor, like this guy who's just got a lot of money. Since then, so I think we spoke last week about maybe $2.1 billion worth of money movements between Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is just absolutely massive. I think it's up to like 3.5. This guy now has 3.5 billion Ethereum, and he's staked it all as well. And did a couple of little, like, tapped away on my calculator for some interesting numbers. He's earning $105 million if Ethereum stays at the same price a year, just off this stake, which is like $280,000 a day.
Wow.
Just raking it in from these staking numbers, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's huge.
It's a lot of money. And Ethereum staking, like, imagine if he'd bought Solana, he would have been getting like triple the amount. So like Ethereum staking yield is quite low, like it's 2.93%, something like that. And there's definitely, you know, you could earn more yield out there. Obviously, if you bought Solana at those levels, so the Solana price would be doing some wacky things right now. But
just incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, so I guess we'll continue to follow this story because this dude, whoever, or maybe not dude, it could be anyone, right? He's got the most ETH of anyone.
Could be a country.
Could be a country.
I don't know what it is. Could be Satoshi.
Satoshi's back. Well, you're going to play Satoshi in an upcoming movie. That's interesting. I only just found out about this. Because I want to move on to the next story, but I don't know if I can move past the fact that you're going to be in a movie.
No, look.
Come on. Tell us the story.
No,
no one listening is going to tell.
I really don't know much details about it, but apparently there was going to be a movie made on someone else's life, which is Bitcoin related.
Yes.
And
I think I know who
I was involved.
Okay.
And so potentially there was a part for me.
Oh right, I know who that is. We can't say.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just respectful.
Just
you
being
know.
respectful.
Fans what they want.
Well, I can
no.
speak. I'll speak to the person, find out if they're okay. Or
Like-
maybe we talk about it next week.
Actually, because we can do that because next week we've got a couple of things we're going to plan up. One of our listeners mentioned doing some discussion on the activity across different chains and stuff like that, which is an awesome idea. Fish Crazy Oz.
Fish
Crazy Oz. Crazy Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah, great suggestion. Thank you.
Fish crayons.
Fish crayons. Conjecture over the actual name. Anyway, whatever. It's a great idea. We'll do it next week. And we can actually talk about the movie you're going to be in. Well, how's your... I'd love to see... Have you done acting classes?
I did drama in year 9 and 10,
Did
so
you?
yes.
Was this the role you were born to play?
That's right. I was working towards this.
Especially if
whole
it's
time.
about you.
Yeah, and when I got to the end of year 10, I was like, I perfected my craft. I don't need to continue to year 11 or 12 with doing the drama class. No, I've done what I came to do.
Well, your one and only performance will be you playing you. So
Oh, I am Satoshi now, am I? Oh, is this going to become an in-joke or we're gonna, like where I'm Satoshi yet somehow I'm the Eth Whisperer? Like, get your story straight, mate. Come on.
you're many things to many people. You're under no obligation to be the person you were 5 minutes ago. Okay.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Back to the news. Trump. So not Donald Trump. There's a few Trump. Oh, not my favorite Trump. The tall one. I can't remember his name.
Or Barron.
Barron.
The young one. Yeah.
That's how much I like him.
Yeah, the tall one. The one with the face. He's
The tall
got the face. Yeah.
Oh,
Trumpy, facey man guy, yeah. Eric Trump, another great Trump, I guess. So he told attendees at Bitcoin 2025, maybe he was just pounding the crowd, but he said there was no doubt, no question, that Bitcoin's going to go to 1 million, which would be 1.5 AUD. Pretty hectic stuff. Okay, so this is the interesting stuff. You've got nation states that are buying the hell out of Bitcoin. You've got Fortune 500 companies that are buying the hell out of Bitcoin. Hope there's a bit of hell left for everyone else. You've got
Leave some for the rest of us.
you've got the biggest families and the biggest companies on earth that believe in this digital store of value. Everybody will hit $1 million. So he's not mixing his words there.
Yeah, everyone wants Bitcoin except for that Bitcoin whale who's selling all his Bitcoin.
Except for the guy.
Except for that guy, but everyone else we want Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't know. I read this. I feel like this guy's sort of classic case of pumping his own bags, if you know what I mean. Like he's talking. There's nothing groundbreaking or new said by him. He's telling us about how companies are buying Bitcoin. Well, we've known that since 2020 when Strategy started buying it. Like countries buying Bitcoin. Okay, El Salvador bought 7.5 Bitcoin. And they did their victory laps back in the day. And families are buying Bitcoin. Well, no shit. Like none of this is new information in my mind. Eric Trump saying it, yeah, okay, he's got a pretty big platform, I suppose. So it's good for the brand. Wow, it's good for some of the brand, I suppose. I guess there's a lot of people who hate Eric Trump just because of his pedigree. But yeah, maybe we'll maybe he can meme it into real life. Hopefully.
Well, I guess he was talking to the Bitcoin people, and he's just wanted to tell the
Yeah.
Bitcoin people what they wanted to hear.
I mean, this always takes me back to that the time that the real Donald Trump was at that was it the Texas one of these Bitcoin conferences, and he was like, oh yeah, and on my the first day I'm gonna fire Gary Gensler. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then everyone just goes like crazy, and he's like, oh I see. I'm going to say it again for no particular reason, even though you've already heard this thing. On the first day, I'm going to fire. Like, he literally just repeated himself. I'm like, no, everyone already heard it, but he's just going for the victory. Like, he just wanted everyone to...
Like at the concert, I can't hear you.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Yeah, I was just like, oh, man, he's treating us like children. But, yeah, I don't know. People were so excited, they didn't care, I guess. And no, this is the same thing. Bitcoin's going to $1 million.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Their political family.
But the thing I did pick out about this one is he gives a timeline as well, which is...
Oh, the next several years.
Yeah, next several years specifically. So, yes, I agree, Bitcoin's going to $1 million. Will it get there in the next 3 to 4 years is what I continue. Is several 3 to 4 in your books? What would you consider
Several's
several?
kind of anything over three to
Anything
plus.
over 3, so like 15 could be several.
No. It'd have to be...
So-
I would call several... it's a good definition. Does someone have a definition of it? No, not
Yeah.
really. It's a bit...
I'm going to call it 3 to 4.
A few's a 3, so I'm going to go 4 and above to like...
Okay.
Whatever. That's
Several
probably-
definition. Let's see, more than 2, but not many. Fair enough. Yeah, but okay. So several. Yeah, to me, it's sort of within the next like 3 to 5 years. I'll extend my range to.
Okay.
And that's pretty close
pretty
to get to
bullish.
$1 million bucks.
Yeah, that's pretty bullish.
Now I can't wait to be proved wrong, and it gets there even sooner. But yeah, it seems pretty quick.
This is good stuff.
But yeah,
All right.
if he gets it. I mean, do you remember there was that guy, I can't remember who it was, who said Bitcoin was going to $1 million by December or something like that. And this was 2 or 3 years ago. Do you remember that? And he made a bet with someone. He was like, I can't remember his name now.
It wasn't like Tom Lee or one of those guys.
No, well, it was someone like that, but it wasn't Tom Lee. Maybe it wasn't Chasmath. Yeah, let's have a quick look. Bitcoin reaches 1 million. Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. Maybe there's a bet.
No.
Maybe it'll pop up and we'll have a game at it.
Yeah. Anyway, like it kind of reminds me of that.
Oh,
a
that's
little
right.
bit.
Balaji.
Yeah, Balaj. That's it. Yeah, him. And the problem was, so he made the bet. Everyone was like, well, there's news articles being posted about it, and it was a very short timeline.
That's
Like,
right.
It was within the next 3
like
months,
90 days or something.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's
It was
crazy.
really short, and then obviously it didn't happen. And then he kind of was like, yeah, well, I knew it wouldn't happen, but I was just doing it for the marketing. Hey, and everyone's like, oh, okay. But it just immediately erodes anything else you say. Like, I guess you're just doing this for the marketing. Like,
Yeah.
And I kind of get the vibes from Trump as well. He's like, no, I'm just saying, the more people that say gets to 1 million, it's going to get to 1 million.
Yeah,
he doesn't actually
yeah.
believe it, but he's doing his best to get it there. But there's no data underlying his hypothesis apart from families are buying it. It's like,
Okay.
yes, I agree. There's a lot of buying pressure, and if it keeps up, yeah, sure, I can get to 1 million. But there's a lot of ifs there.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Alrighty. Next one here. Talking up huge returns. Here, Ethereum will 100x. So Joe Lubin. So we've talked about Joe Lubin heaps because he's the Starlink gaming guy
And the Ethereum co-founder,
and the Ethereum co-founder.
along with Vitalik. Yeah.
And he's claiming 100x. ETH will likely 100x from here. Probably much more. That's bold.
Yeah, if you read, he's got this large wall of text tweet, and that's kind of just buried in the middle somewhere. So I feel it's almost like a throwaway line. Essentially, I found this one quite funny because he's tweet quoting Tom Lee, and for those who don't know Tom Lee, he's the CEO of BitMine, which was historically he was like a big Bitcoin bull, Tom Lee. And historically, BitMine, or probably still, is a Bitcoin mining company. Would you believe BitMine? However, in the last sort of 6 months, they've transitioned into becoming an Ethereum treasury company, which is kind of a bit weird for a lot of people because it's like, hang on, are you Bitcoin or suddenly you're Ethereum? Anyway, so he's become like this Ethereum treasury company. They hold the most amount of Ethereum out of any of the Ethereum treasury companies. And he was talking on something about how, Ethereum is going to take over Wall Street. And we've been hearing this whole Wall Street thing for a long time now. The fervor of, well, Ethereum and Wall Street have been really rising to a fever pitch in the last couple of weeks as Ethereum has finally started turning a corner and making some gains. And we got like an all-time high last week, was it?
Yeah.
So like a few days ago, maybe. So he's talking about how Ethereum's going to be this Wall Street, the infrastructure for Wall Street, blah, blah, digital oil. And so then Joe Lubin basically tweet quotes him and says, look, I generally agree with what Tom's saying, but obviously Tom Lee is like a massive Ethereum bull. Like he's turned his whole company, they own the most amount of Ethereum out of any treasury company, huge bull. And Joe Lubin's like, look, I generally agree with what he's saying. Ethereum, Wall Street will take on Ethereum. Ethereum will, pervade into all aspects of Wall Street. It'll probably 100x. It's probably going to flip Bitcoin. He basically says it's going to flip Bitcoin's market cap. But there's just one thing. There's one problem with what Tom Lee says. He's not bullish enough. What? The biggest bull in Ethereum, and this guy's like, yeah, nice try, buddy. You're just not bullish enough.
That's a damning critique.
I was like, kidding me? So that was kind of funny. But I mean, this whole thing, everyone's talking about how Ethereum's going to take over Wall Street, blah blah. It's like this romanticized view, I feel. But the reality is, it's going to take a while. Like they're not just going to flip a switch and look at that. It's all the banks are now running on Ethereum or some layer 2 or whatever. It's going to be a long process. It's going to be done in piecemeal. It's going to take a number of years. Yes, the outlook is great because they're already doing a whole bunch of prototypes and testing out, and all these banks are sort of trying these things out, and they're labs kind of departments where they're trying out new technology, and it's great to see all that stuff, and it's
Yep.
all moving in the right direction. But it's going to take a while. They're not just going to flip a switch.
Can actually, I've got a question then for you. So often we'll talk about it in the sense of, Wall Street's coming and they're just going to like adopt all this crypto stuff and blah, 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 blah. And it's all going to be great and everyone's going to be great. And it's almost like you can, then crypto's taken over. But a bit like the Kodak experience. Okay, everyone knows the Kodak example, where Kodak didn't adopt. In fact, they went the other way. They said, no, we don't want all this new digital stuff because it'll really undermine our old printing business. And of course, we all know the story of what happened there. So my question to you is a little bit like this. We know about Hype and what they're building, for example. We've got a whole bunch of markets, NASDAQ or ASX or whatever these markets are around the world. And there's this underlying almost assumption going, well, these guys all these big businesses will actually just start using our technology. And my question is, like, hang on, maybe their business model the crypto will actually become the business model, if that makes sense. Where am I going with this? So, like, for example, a lot of exchanges now are starting to host like digitized stocks and stuff like that on their thing. So it's not that the existing incumbents are adopting the technology; it's that the new technologies are just skipping over them.
Yeah, it's like a vampire attack.
You know what I mean?
Slowly siphoning off.
It's slowly siphoning off. So all of a sudden, when people can trade stocks 24/7 or whatever.
I hear what you're saying.
It's
to sort of like you're like reinventing what they're doing on the blockchain rather than them sort of re-engineering the underlying infrastructure.
They're not going to change their tech stack. It's just that tech stack is just going to move over to like Hype or whatever. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I don't think so. Like, I think there's a lot of underestimating the vast size of traditional finance and all the stuff that it does. And yes, I think that will absolutely happen. But I think like these big banks and Wall Street as a whole, they're not stupid, right? They're a bunch of probably very smart dudes, smartest guys around in that space. They're going to see the writing on the wall, or enough of them are going to see the writing on the wall and they're not going to sit there and go, okay, you know what? Let's just throw everything out and move over to this new age thing. I think they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep what they've got and their whatever advantage they have, whatever edge in the market they have, under the hood, and this is kind of where like a lot of the crypto ethos, a lot of crypto guys have been talking about this forever. Like you switch over because it's the right thing to do. It's kind of like with the whole solar energy and fossil fuel stuff. Yes, it's the right thing to do to stop using fossil fuels and putting carbon dioxide into the air, but in the end, the only people who are going to do it is if there's like a monetary advantage to doing it. So if solar and whatever is cheaper, if the renewable energy is cheaper, then of course people are going to move over because there's game theory kicks in again. Spoken about this before, and I think the same thing there. Like if it works out that using Ethereum rails or blockchain rails to do their underlying infrastructure stuff is cheaper and better and can earn them more money, then that's what's going to happen. But I don't think they're going to just flip over because it's a cool new shiny technology.
Yeah,
and it looks good.
Yeah, well, interesting enough, I had two conversations this week with people in TradFi actually, and one question was, are you aware of any TradFi businesses that are providing tokenized stocks like TradFi businesses? I'm like, well, no, actually, come to think of it, the only businesses I know offering tokenized stock are crypto businesses. It's actually the other way around. And then I had another friend from a large exchange, large TradFi exchange, or ASX in this case, and they're talking about, potentially they're moving their their clearing and settlement process to another tech. And I was like thinking about, a couple of weeks ago I had the conversation about Hype and the market that's going on over there. And, I kind of feel like, well, in some ways they're actually kind of doing exactly what you want to be doing. You know what I mean? And I didn't suggest, hey, have you checked out Hype? Because I don't think the ASX is going to go, you know what, we're moving straight to Hype. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like eventually 100%. The Hype guys might go, well, we'll get ourselves a market licenses and we'll go on all these other businesses that people want to trade. We'll just tokenize your stocks and we'll have a better
and people start listing there instead of on the ASX or whatever, as long as they've got the right licensing, they're, under the regulatory umbrella. Yeah, no, it is interesting. And that's actually a great example. So with, the ASX versus an exchange, like even just like Independent Reserve, a centralized exchange, like the traditional finance has all of these kind of delay friction points in the process. So you mentioned before, you got clearing, you got settlement, you've got the actual trade matching engine, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's multiple layers.
And they all have to go through, when you make a trade, it all has to go through each of these gates before it can get into your, brokerage wallet, which is really just this centralized thing. It's, it's not a bearer asset. Whereas in the crypto exchange, these things are built from the ground up using modern technology. It all happens real time, instant. There's you don't really have a concept of clearing and settlement. It's just when the purchase happens, the database number changes from you to you, and now you own that. That's yours.
Yeah. And we have this model which from effectively from a technical limitation point of view, we had settlement, clearing, and banking, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it made sense back in the day when people had bits of paper and they had to go and take it to this guy. He had to double check it. We didn't have computers back then. So of course you had to separate this stuff to make sure it was legitimate and people weren't getting, duped out of their money.
Yeah. So that's my question. And I don't know how long it's going to be before a large exchange goes, you know what? There's just a simpler way. There's some technology out there that we could just adopt.
And I think for something like the specific example of, share trading, there's clear advantage in my mind, and I'm not an expert on this stuff, but there's a lot of efficiencies that can be gained out of going to modern technology, and it doesn't even have to be blockchain, to be honest, because obviously Independent Reserve does this stuff in a better way. We don't run on a blockchain. Yes, we interact with blockchains, of course, because when you're doing deposits and withdrawals, but inside, we're just running a database, and that's the right thing to do. You wouldn't want to run it on a blockchain. It doesn't make sense, But yeah, these guys, maybe they could modernize their systems, absolutely, and it doesn't have to touch crypto at that point. But I think there are a lot of, especially when you're doing talking about transfer rails and moving money around internationally, where crypto just makes so much sense because you use the internet instead of some antiquated system that has to go through settlement, clearing, blah blah blah. All this crazy stuff that is just a bygone era kind of thing.
Yeah, indeed. I guess that's exciting, Pete, right?
Yeah,
you don't know where it's going to end yet.
Exactly. And to round out this conversation, my point was that, yes, it does make sense that Wall Street is looking to this stuff, but it's going to take a while to get there. They're gonna have to go through a lot of things to get there. Anyway, it'll happen.
It will happen.
But will it happen in the next several years? Let's wait and see.
All right. I think we could probably touch on that for a number of weeks because that's really a fascinating concept. It's will these businesses adopt or will they be replaced?
Yeah, and I at the moment, the big noise is about the businesses adopting because they're that's you hear about the JP Morgans in the news trialing blockchain for this or for that, and whereas the new up and comers who might be looking to flip it and replace them completely.
We've got some hot news coming in. Apparently there's a lot of people upset, not surprisingly with you, that you called December the top. What?
Oh.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Well, I didn't call December the top. I said in the 4-year cycle theory. In the 4-year cycle theory.
People aren't happy, Nick. The internet's not happy, once again.
Historically. Okay, so if you missed my sort of talk about the 4-year cycles, it was fairly basic. The idea is that Bitcoin and stocks as well follow this concept of 4-year cycle. In stocks, the idea is that it's sort of based around the presidential sort of cycle. So when often, in the US, obviously, the presidents will sort of pump the markets just before it's election time because they want to make themselves look good and hopefully get re-elected. In crypto world, specifically Bitcoin has been built with the protocol in mind to say that every 4 years, the reward that gets delivered to the miners is halved. So every 4 years, we're down to about 3.125 Bitcoin per block at the moment. And theoretically, if there's less Bitcoin getting issued to the market, there's less Bitcoin to sell. So price should go up. That's kind of the broad strokes idea. If we look at the 4-year cycles in Bitcoin, it's around December this year that historically, if we look back at previous cycles, this cycle that we're currently in would top. Now, I apologise to anyone who didn't like that idea. Are you saying that you want it to top now? Or it's already topped?
We just went through this with Eric Trump. You just need to say Bitcoin up forever.
Yeah, okay. So now we're in super cycle theory. We can talk about that. Or super cycle. Yeah, so super cycle, there's the idea about super cycles where Bitcoin goes up forever. So we've talked to, I guess, what's his name? Michael Saylor loves this. It's going up forever, Laura. Suzu, the guy from Three Arrows Capital, sort of
Super cycle.
really coined the idea of a super cycle. He talked about it a lot. Obviously, that didn't play out very well for him. But,
How long did he spend in jail again?
yeah, I don't know. It was six to 12 months or something. Didn't seem like long enough.
Yeah, but it wasn't because of his super cycle theory. Let's be
they didn't reference that in court. They said, you said it was going up forever. And the jury's essentially like, yeah, 1 year in jail for that.
But it was one of
No,
these
yeah.
factors, aggregating factors that made I got up. The judge probably bought the top.
Yeah, probably.
Thinking it was going up
I
for
mean, he was cocky. He was probably invested in Three Arrows Capital. That was a real problem. Super cycle idea exists where the whole 4-year cycle breaks down. People talk about and we'll find out if early next year we're still going up. Then yes, I'm wrong. I didn't invent the 4-year cycle. But yeah, if we follow the previous 4-year cycles, I think it's something like month 33 from the previous bottom is usually around between like month 33, month 34 kind of thing. That's usually when we get the top. Anyway, if we were to follow that again, it would happen in December, people.
All I'm saying is picking the top of Bitcoin
if
is
you
a weird
see-
hill to die on. Nick.
Yeah, look, and I'm going to give some non-financial advice now. If you see the Bitcoin price going crazy and we're doing like $10,000 candles per day and it's around December, it's time to sell. But that's not financial advice. That's just what I'll be doing.
Okay.
Don't take my advice.
Remember, we have discussed this many times. We do not know what we're doing. We're just very enthusiastic about the way we do it.
Enthusiastic. I mean, if you follow the 4-year cycle, then supposedly yes. But
You can't follow people.
So
just
the
on
4-year cycle, and sorry, let me continue on this train of thought. The 4-year cycle itself doesn't end until a bit later, right? So I'm not saying the fourth cycle is finished in December. The top historically in the 4-year cycle came around to the December part. We've still got like another year to go after that of like, the cycle. So the top can actually be pushed out. Who knows? It hasn't been in previous years, but maybe this year it will. This year, this time it's different, guys. Maybe this time it's different because the super cycle. Maybe this time it's different because the top is later. Maybe this time it's different because we've already had the top. And I'd be very sad.
So just like Jackson Hole, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's right.
You could be Jerome Powell.
Yeah.
You should play Jerome Powell in a movie.
I could do all the characters. This is like Mama's like Eddie Murphy in that movie where he plays everyone.
Leonardo DiCaprio could play you playing other people.
Oh, yes. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere now.
There we go. I'm pretty sure he watches every week too. So
Called Titanic.
Oh. For those who didn't hear, we
Jared
just got
with
to play on Titanic with my name, Nick.
Jared with the dad puns from the sideline.
Yeah.
Back to the news because that's what we're here for. Tether brings USDT to Bitcoin via RGB protocol. So Tether's been on Bitcoin for a while, but like, how's this different?
So this is funny. So for those who remember, a long time ago, Tether existed. Well, it originally existed on Ethereum, of course, but they also had it on a side chainy thing on Bitcoin called the Omni network. It really didn't take off. People used it sparingly. It seems like Tether are really just trying to go multi-chain at the moment. So they've now released it on this RGB network, which is it's kind of like its own client-side network. So it doesn't really have I don't know how technical we want to get here. It doesn't really have its own blockchain per se, but it's sort of like every wallet that you have will verify the chain. RGB also posts stuff back to the Bitcoin blockchain, just as kind of like, marks, what do you call it? Almost like timestamps to say, look, we did this here, we did this here, we did this here. And because the Bitcoin blockchain has so much, security around it, there's so much mining power, it's so difficult to reverse the Bitcoin blockchain. It's very secure in that sense. And so by posting stuff to the Bitcoin blockchain, you can kind of be very confident that it's there forever, it's immutable. RGB does this. It also uses UTXOs in some fashion to do transaction ordering and ensure double spends don't happen. I'm not entirely sure how it works, to be honest. But basically Tether have now released USDT on RGB in an official capacity. It also can interact with the Lightning Network, which is, allows you to do stuff really quickly, almost instantly. This is kind of interesting to me only in that I feel like Lightning is all kind of a dead project in a way. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but yeah, it really hasn't done what it set out to do. Anyway, RGB seems to be interact with it. I don't think RGB hinges off Lightning, but obviously it's a way to make things happen really quickly, so it makes sense for them to do it. Does this increase the TVL of Bitcoin? Total value locked of Bitcoin.
Well, in this
I
case,
guess so.
it'd be relevant to the extent that maybe do miners make fees if people start using this?
Well, I mean, if people start using Lightning because of this, I suppose there'd be some kind of like second, third order effect that maybe could increase the total value locked. So by TVL of Bitcoin, I'm assuming you're talking about how much Bitcoin is locked on the Lightning network. Yeah, it's possible. I don't think it'd be very noticeable. And if you look at sort of the TVL of Bitcoin on Lightning, it's not a great story. I don't think. Last time I looked, it wasn't a very happy chart. But yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing, I guess. Like to me, this is more like Tether. It probably doesn't cost them very much to do stuff like this. RGB, the protocol, whoever the leaders of that protocol are, probably loving it because it's just free advertising for them, right? They get
totally.
Like I'd never heard of RGB before this, to be honest, and so I did a bit of reading and I was like, okay, fine. But yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. It looks like it's pretty new anyway, so we're just gonna. It's like anything else. I guess they could do it, and we just have to kind of see if it gets take up and people use it and all this kind of stuff.
Tether are doing some huge stuff. Like they've announced they've got this USD Zero token as well, which is sort of a way for Tether to be. Oh gosh, I'm stretching my memory now, but they're doing. Yeah, I think it's a way for Tether to exist on chains unofficially. Like you can get this USDT Zero. It's kind of an easier way for chains to integrate USDT. I think, might be wrong on that. Maybe we do a little Tether session next week or week after if anyone's interested. But yeah, Tether are really trying to expand. Like, it's a real race now for them to maintain their dominance in the market. They're obviously the number one stablecoin. Stablecoins are so hot right now. All the governments are trying to, release regulations about them and get it happening in the economy.
Yep.
Like I think we've got a story about how Japan's doing stuff, and like everyone wants to get stablecoins. So Tether's just really trying to push all the boundaries. The thing that sticks out to me for Tether is that the Tether company, the guys like Paolo, the CEO, they're real Bitcoin bulls. They love Bitcoin.
Yeah, they have a huge treasury of Bitcoin.
Yeah, huge. They are buying Bitcoin with like their profits and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that they're sort of trying to get Tether on Bitcoin in some way, and the Omni sort of experiment didn't really work out. Now they're trying with RGB. I'm sure there'll be other ones, whatever, if a kind of layer 2 on Bitcoin or some kind of chain that uses Bitcoin ends up being successful, I'm sure they're going to jump on that because they love Bitcoin. Yeah, but anyway, we'll see where this goes. I don't honestly have high hopes for it, to be honest, but yeah.
Oh, no, low hopes.
Low hopes.
Well, let's move on to something that you have always had high hopes about. So some Ethereum chat. Ethereum has a new interop layer. Sorry,
interloping.
There's definitely no L there. Interop layer. Ethereum Foundation has outlined its roadmap to make Ethereum feel like one chain again. I didn't know. I felt like different ones. I guess there's been a bunch of L2 stuff going on, so it does feel a little bit, maybe potentially feel a bit fragmented. But talk us through this.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. I like the idea of this one. When you read it on the outset, and if you sort of look at the news articles about it, they're all talking about how Ethereum has got this plan to, make it all feel like one layer, which I think is the right thing to do because for a long time now, especially in sort of the Ethereum bear market times, which has kind of
been forever.
A long time. Yeah, literally since the last bull market till a few weeks ago. Everyone's, you just see anyone who's talking about Ethereum is always talking about how fragmented it is and how, even though they've got these layer 2s and they're fast, the layer 2s don't pay back to the layer 1. So what's the point in owning Ethereum and all this kind of stuff? Which I've got some time for, but the Ethereum Foundation, I think we spoke about a few weeks ago now, they kind of changed ownership in a way. There's a new CEO came on board and new bunch of people at the top. And I think they've done some good stuff like that. That was kind of where Ethereum started picking up again. It seems like, I don't know if it's anecdotal or if it's the actual reason. But yeah, it just seems to be like that. With this change, the idea is cool. However, it's not as simple as it seems. So It's not like the Ethereum Foundation just goes, hey, we're going to make it all seem like layer one, and then some guys are going to do some coding, and then next minute it's like, oh wow, it's all layer one now.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they've got some ideas for what they think Ethereum APIs should provide, like a bunch of tooling, maybe some like reference applications, stuff like that, and going, hey, here's how we think this thing should go forward. But then it's still up to the layer 2 and layer 1 and layer whatever developers to actually build that stuff. So some people need to still come and make products that smooth over this fragmentation of layers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I do.
it's not like the Ethereum Foundation are actually doing that work. They're just going, look, we're going to make it as easy as possible for you guys to do the work.
do that.
And that's cool. Like, the Ethereum, historically at least, I don't know if it is anymore, but they had, the most amount of developers out of any of the cryptos. They just, have so many people developing on Ethereum. The APIs are great. Documentation's bloody good. And so everyone, it's just a pleasure to develop on. But we still need people to actually go out there and do it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think if they do, awesome. And I've even noticed, I don't know if you've seen in your MetaMask recently, but now it's sort of previously, you'd have to choose which layer 2 or which kind of EVM, and now it's all just one pane, and they just show you all of your tokens across all of your recognized EVMs in one sort of screen. Which, to be honest, for me, being used to the other way of doing it, I was very confused. I'm like, hang on, what are all these tokens? But okay, that one's from Arbitrum and that one's from whatever. So once you're used to it, I feel like MetaMask is kind of jumping the shark a bit too. I don't know if you've used it recently, but it's just very noisy and busy. I sort of have to sit there for 10 seconds trying to just figure out what I'm looking at, because it's just different colors and it's now dark mode, and it's, I love dark mode, but there's just so much stuff everywhere.
Yeah, I guess this is the challenge with anything as well. Like, you need to have a level of familiarity, and for new people, you need to be able to sort of smash by or be able to button mash your way through things to do it. You know what I mean? Which is why Windows was so successful at onboarding a bunch of PC users, for example, because it made it dumb enough. There's enough ability to use a computer for what they're meant for, but at the same time, they've dumbed it down in a way that just made it very accessible for everyday people.
And we are just talking about a specific bit of software here, so it's not really fair to Ethereum as a whole, but MetaMask is everyone's got MetaMask, right? If you use
totally.
Ethereum. And it's just confusing now, to be honest. Then it's not user friendly. Everyone talks about onboarding the next billion customers or whatever to crypto.
It needs to be.
You're not going to be able to do that through Ethereum. Through MetaMask in its current state, if you ask me.
Yeah,
That's another topic.
Yeah, and you just need to be able to just finger mash your way through things. You know what I mean? Just button mash it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just button mash your way through things. Then you can onboard a bunch of
face
people.
roll on the keyboard. No.
Just speak at it.
I bought Filecoin again. Shit.
Well, again, then you made lots of money. Filecoin is still actually I have to check.
I don't think Filecoin is doing it. Everything sucks at the moment, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the ETH Whisperer has spoken. There needs to be more work done.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, look what is up next. It is the big budget Satoshi film, which you know all about because you're going to star in it. Oh, Pete Davidson and Casey Affleck. I don't know who Casey Affleck is, but I said it like I did.
Ben Affleck's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've assumed it was related.
Casey?
It's like Simon Pitt.
No,
Simon
Doug Pitt.
Doug Pitt.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, but Casey Affleck's actually an actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff, whereas Doug Pitt's just been in that one ad, which was cool. Don't get me wrong. That was epitome of his life. But
I know Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to get back to this. Affleck will appear in a new conspiracy thriller from the director of The Bourne Identity, tentatively titled "Killing Satoshi."
There's Pete Davidson for those watching. Well, he's got a massive moustache there.
I thought you were saying something else.
Sorry, go on.
And it's being reported that the film will explore Satoshi's secret identity, which we revealed to be you, in a manner similar to the social
We've got a
network.
scoop here on the Moonshot Dispatch.
Well, there he is. Oh, here's Casey Affleck.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah, well, people on TV, people watching can't see it. He
No,
definitely
they can't see this either.
he definitely looks like a budget Ben Affleck. I guess
Yeah, he does.
Timu Ben. That's what all the kids say these days. That's a bit
Really?
harsh.
Okay, nice.
Well, Ben came first, so I can't tell. Who's the cheaper looking Affleck? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Ben's washed out, if you ask me. There's that meme where he's got the cigarette and he's just It's like that guy's at the end of his tether.
That meme, I always
Tether.
assumed was like a reference to like someone snapped him out the front. He just had an argument with J-Lo and he's like, I'm done with it.
Yeah. I have no idea if it's from a movie or if it's like a candid shot, but it's brilliant. Yeah, there we go. We're about to put this one up to Jared, working as fast as he possibly can. He's never clicked so quickly before in his life. Yeah,
He's had enough.
there we go.
I think anyone who's got like kids and
There we go.
life at home
That's
will appreciate that sentiment right there.
Yeah, hang on.
I've just had enough, you know.
Can I watch
Yeah.
K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters.
I managed to avoid K-pop Demon Hunters. Don't know how.
Yeah, okay. It's just like this generation's Frozen. That's what I'm telling everyone. So
Is it?
Frozen was just like everywhere, and there was you'd have Frozen
because all the
socks
singing
and
songs
Frozen.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's literally 10 years later. Here we are with K-pop Demon Hunters.
Imagine the generation of kids, or I guess little girls in particular, who would have like learned to play like Let It Go on a recorder.
We've got a recorder at home, and Phoenix just like my 3-year-old just like blows on it as hard as he could. Literally, you know that Simpsons one where it's up the guy's nostril? Like it's happened multiple times. Anyway, sorry, that's my recorder story. Yeah, so Satoshi, that's a Satoshi film. I don't know anything about this, of course. Wink. But it sounds interesting. I think it's going to be much more of a like general, populist kind of like. I don't think it's going to be for the hardcore Bitcoin.
We want to know.
guys.
We want to know what happened.
Like, when
Satoshi. There's Satoshi with
what
Leonardo
It's actually
DiCaprio
got
playing
Leonardo
you.
in
I
there.
think that's fake.
What?
Because I made that Leo stuff up. And
Well,
here
hang
we
on,
are.
hang
or
on.
did I?
Pull that up.
Putting it up.
Yeah, I know. I made it up.
Satoshi trailer with
did I?
when Leonardo DiCaprio as Nick.
There we go.
Wow,
Here
no
I am
way.
on film. Can you see any of my young girlfriends? No. Okay.
Satoshi
That must be off
hysteria.
screen. Yeah, when I was looking at this one, so here's some of the things that were said as they're describing this film: political intrigue, high-tech espionage, race against time, forces across the globe. Like
It's Jason Bourne with
none of
Bitcoin.
this- yeah,
They've taken Jason Bourne and just made it Satoshi.
Satoshi spent 2 years in his basement coding. There was no political intrigue. Like I just imagine, in this film, there's going to be like some guy hanging off a cliff, defusing a bomb. He's like, "We got to get the bitcoins to the," It's like it's just, it's going to be some nonsense. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We'll like add in speed to it. So, got to keep the hash rate above 50. Anyway, I think this film's going to be a bunch of nonsense, but I'm probably going to end up watching it anyway.
Oh, just
maybe
'cause-
on Netflix or whatever. I don't think I'm going to pay for it at the movies, but yeah, it sounds kind of funny.
It's not going to be for the crypto guys. It's going to
I
be.
don't think so. Yeah.
Oh, we shouldn't.
Some guy who directed
The guy who directed Born Identity, which is, somehow they're going to make like I'm sure.
I mean, I love The Bourne Identity. That's a good film.
yeah.
That's got Ben Affleck in it, doesn't it?
Does it?
Matt
I thought it was Matt Damon.
Yeah, but doesn't Ben Affleck act in every single Matt Damon film? Isn't that the rule?
Oh.
They have to act in the same films together.
We can madly Google that, I guess.
No, we don't need to. I'm just telling you now. It's the rule. Matt Damon.
I've got a random factoid. So the Matt Damon character in Team America, they're watching the interview with the Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and they said initially, even though it became one of the most iconic kind of like catchphrases from that movie, they said initially it was an accident. So they actually had what's his name, Jason Bourne.
Matt Damon?
Matt Damon, to be like a regular character. And they wanted him to have like a speaking role, and I don't know what they were going to do to lampoon him, but he was just going to be like a regular
And he was going to be a voice actor?
he was going to be, I don't know if his character, they had plans for that character, like saying things and doing stuff.
Right.
But when they made the puppet, it just looked really retarded. And so they're just like, and so one of the boys was like, "Oh, Matt Damon." And then and they just were like, "That's hilarious."
yeah.
And they just rolled with it. So every time he was going to say something, they just replaced it with, "Oh, Matt Damon."
Matt Damon. Yeah, wow. And apparently I've heard for the other side of that. So from Matt Damon, it's ruined his life. Like people just, like 10 years later, people are still yelling across the street, "Matt Damon." I'm like, you poor bastard. Just getting it every day.
And
then he did FTX. Oh, that guy. Remember he did the ads for FTX? Do you remember that?
no.
He was sponsored by FTX. Like saying, are you looking for your next financial to unlock your financial future?
No way.
Better invest in FTX.
But people just remember the puppet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably good. Like he goes to court over, doing this stuff, and the judge is like, "Hang on, weren't you just in the puppet thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's all I did." Like, you're free to go, sir.
Oh, damn.
Authorised by that.
That's incredible. All right, so keep your eyes peeled for those Hollywood stars. They'll be coming to tell you something you probably don't know about Satoshi. Yeah, like you said, the real Satoshi was just in his basement eating ramen, and the biggest controversy was just coding. Anyway,
I mean, the biggest thing is him disappearing. That was sort of
that's
his greatest gift, etc. But yeah, I struggle to see how they're going to make a blockbuster movie. But if they just make a bunch of crap up, sure, why not?
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
All right, we've got to move along. We can go as long as we want. No one's going to kick us out. I was going to say we're going to try. No, we're going to try and keep it to an hour. I don't know. I guess we don't have to. We can write the rules.
Yeah.
Till Adrian kicks us out of here. All right, Ether ETFs are going gangbusters. All right, we've got to do our ETF updates because we'd always been about Bitcoin, but now Ether ETFs are on an absolute tear. Since launch, the total inflows into the Ethereum ETF rose 44% in August. Money was chasing the hot gains from 9.5 billion at the start of the month to 13.7 billion by the end. So it's pretty juicy.
Yeah, we've really Ethereum is just at the moment is really the flavor of the month, right? All the ETFs are taking in more strategies. Strategy's getting a bit of flack over its its strategy to only issue new shares over 2.5 NAV or 3.5 NAV, whatever it was, and then they just reneged on that. So everyone's kind of not really loving strategy at the moment. Tom Lee's getting all of these headlines. I think there's a part of this thing talks about how Ethereum active addresses are at all-time highs. Everything's just Ethereum at the moment. So I guess that means it's time to sell. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, not financial advice.
I don't know. The next one, okay, so USD GDP on the blockchain. So the US Department of Commerce has published its gross domestic product numbers on 9 separate blockchains. The exercise was a proof of concept, with the government planning to disseminate key economic data via blockchains in future. So the quote here from Trump's administration was, "We are making America's economic truth immutable and globally accessible like never before." That's from Howard Lutnick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing they're doing. I thought it was funny in the release. They're like, we're doing it on Bitcoin, we're doing it on Solana, we're doing it on Ethereum, we're doing it on Stellar for some reason, we're doing it on AVAX. They're doing it on all these different sort of blockchains. And then they're like, and also we've done all this high-tech stuff, and here's the PDF. It's like, so I could just click this PDF link and instead of, but no, what they've done for those technically interested in how it works, basically they've taken a hash of the PDF file. So a hash is basically a short bit of random text, apparently random text, that you derive from a file or some other text. So basically you input one bit of text, you get a hash from the other bit of text. If you keep using that same hashing algorithm, you'll always get the same output, which is called the hash, but you can never go from the hash back to the input text. So, and this is a big concept that's used in all cryptos. Hashing is very, very important. And you might have heard of SHA-256. That's the hashing algorithm used in Bitcoin and a lot of other ones too. So they've hashed the PDF file. So they've taken the entire PDF file, which is a bunch of ones and zeros, right? They've hashed it and come up with this shorter bit of text, which is the hash. If you have that hash, you can kind of prove that if you have the input, so the PDF file, you can prove that it always goes to that output hash. They've put that output hash on the blockchains. Right. So they haven't stored the entire GDP data on the blockchains. They've just taken a hash of the PDF file that they created and then put that hash on different blockchains. And basically what you can do then is go, okay, cool. If someone edits the PDF file, so changes any of the numbers, then the hash is going to change, and you can then compare that changed hash with what's on the blockchain and go, they're different. And you know that someone's changed something with the PDF, so you know it's not real. But you can prove it is real. Someone gives you a PDF, you run the hashing algorithm, you get a hash at the end, and you can see that hash is in the blockchain from 5 years ago or whenever it was put in there. And that's a way you can kind of confirm that it is true. So this is what they're doing. They're basically just allowing people to verify that the PDF file is legitimate.
And no one's doctored it, and what they've said is true. And if they have changed
I mean, it doesn't say that what's in the PDF is true. all it, because that's just data whatever they hashed at the time.
Yeah. I just mean
But
that means that no one's gone and doctored and
No
changed.
one's changed it since, yeah. So as long as you believe it was true at the start, and obviously it needs to be audited and blah blah, then you can trust after that if you get a PDF file and someone says, hey, here's GDP data from August 2025, you can go, okay, actually yes, I agree, this is what was released on 2025 because I can see the hash in these 9 different blockchains, including for some reason Stellar.
All right. Just cause.
Why did they use Stellar? I don't know. Anyway, I guess they're just trying to jam it on a whole bunch of blockchains and not appear to be favouring one over the other, possibly.
Okay. Trying a few. That's interesting stuff. I mean, getting this information whenever you need to be able to be absolutely certain that something's happened in the way that it was said to have happened, then this is a pretty cool concept, right?
I agree. It's a cool way of doing it. Like, how would you do that otherwise? I guess you could upload a hash to a website, but someone could change the hash on the website. How do you prove it's the original hash? Well, you need timestamps. Someone could edit the time. It's a lot of problems, and this is kind of a real cool thing that blockchain helps solve. You create these time, like what does Satoshi in the white paper call it? He didn't even use the word blockchain. He called it like time hash or something like that. That's what the concept of the blockchain. He never called it blockchain. He called it like a time hash, I think.
Yeah, right. That's fascinating.
Yeah,
okay,
and
that's
so.
Cool.
And so, yeah, it's like a cool way of doing that. And you can kind of look back and go, okay, there's been so much work on top of this time hash, this blockchain. It's impossible for people to go back and actually change that hash that's in the blockchain. So you can rely on it being correct.
Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty cool proof of concept. And I mean, anywhere where you need to be able to absolutely certain that something was said to have happened and confirmed to have happened, you've all agreed it's happened at a certain time. Hey, it'll be interesting to see what other applications this applies to, but it's a good start. All right, Asia crypto news. A quick bit of summary then before we kind of, wrap things up. So in this is pretty interesting. So Japan's financial services agency says it's planning to create a cryptocurrency and innovation division. And the Japanese, when they sink their teeth into a new technology, have an exceptional track record of taking it and doing innovative things. If you look through the 80s, the 90s, and or recently, the Japanese just seem to
LED.
Yeah, they just seem to be able to come up with cool stuff.
Did you know that? A little bit of tangent.
I didn't.
Japanese guy invented the blue LED. So prior to that, you couldn't make a blue color in LEDs, and so they were kind of used. Like you could do like a little red thing, and like a little LED which has certain colors. But to make it actually useful for something like a TV screen or a computer monitor or whatever, you need blue, right? You need blue to create all these other colors, and they couldn't figure it out. Some Japanese guys figured out the technology.
No way.
And invented blue, and they're like, hallelujah, we've got blue now. Now we can actually start using this for really awesome applications rather than just a little blinking light on the side of a machine.
I don't know. I feel like every time the Japanese are creating or doing something, it's always something super cool and interesting and a new way of doing things. This is completely tangential, but fascinating all the same. It was some Japanese researchers once used a slime mold to work out the most efficient way to structure their subway system.
A slime mold.
This is what's crazy, right? So they basically mapped out like a petri dish or whatever with like food sources in the shape of like the stations for the underground system. Yeah. And the slime mold using, I don't know, the organic intelligence or whatever you want to call it of the slime, kind of like organized itself in a way that was like the most efficient, thermodynamically efficient way of like attaching itself to all the different food sources. There's a way to go, this is how you would structure it if you wanted to get between all these things really efficiently. 100% go check it out.
Okay.
And it is just,
cool.
It's just absolutely fascinating. The way of thinking to go, how are we going to solve this problem? There's just, I don't know, something about the Japanese. You just got to.
There's like one guy in the lab who's like, can we use slime for this one? Like, all right, Jeff, come on, we could do the slime one.
I was only doing it so I could use it to throw at people.
Yeah, that's right.
It's incredible. So other stuff happening in Asia this week. So former Thai Prime Minister, I cannot pronounce his name. Sorry, Thaksin Shinawatra.
Hey, nailed it.
Did I?
I don't know.
Met with crypto companies MetaPlanet and UTXO Management to discuss the potential.
MetaPlanet?
Yeah.
Is that hotel company? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the hotel company. We were talking about this.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we did. Do you have any other MetaPlanet facts?
They own a lot of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
They're establishing a Thai strategic reserve. Potentially of establishing a Thai strategic reserve and positioning the country as a regional hub for treasury companies.
Yeah, I like the whole regional hub. It's like, we want to be the hub for treasury. No, sorry. Like, Strategy in the US have that covered. You guys can't take it. I'm like, okay, what about a regional hub? Yeah, I think we can do regional. All right. You can be the regional hub. All right, sweet.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. Thailand have all these kind of. Thailand have seemed
They
quite
keep popping up in the
forward-thinking.
news,
They
yeah.
keep popping up. I haven't seen anything beyond them popping up and then popping down again. But, maybe.
they're huge adopters. So there's there's a Thai, his name escapes me. There's a Thai exchange that has like 30 million users.
Yeah.
Yes, the name escapes me.
No, that's Indonesian. Sorry.
So they've got.
Yeah, I know the one.
It's pretty crazy. They have an exchange that has more users than the entire population of Australia, and it's just like we've never even heard of this exchange. Oh, BitCup, that's right.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right, so they're obviously selling. Actually, we had the guys in from Block Owner. I think James was the one who was telling me about this. It's like they're obviously servicing like a need. Obviously, there's enough. You know what I mean? So I guess the authorities there have taken note that this thing's happening and they want part of it. Moving along, a US court has blocked Singapore-based AI company Genius Group from expanding its Bitcoin reserves due to a legal dispute with another company. Don't know much more about that.
Yeah, so I can tell a little bit about that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's basically this company that already does have some Bitcoin on their treasury, but then there's a bunch of like fraud allegations and the company has had to sell, I think, 10 Bitcoin to cover its operating costs while all these court cases are ongoing and they don't have any clarity. But they've also been blocked from issuing new shares so that instead of being able to issue new shares to, fund their operating costs, they have to just sell assets. And they're really pissed off about that, obviously. And this is, I think, like maybe one of the first, I don't know, I haven't kept a super tight view on treasury companies, but you hear about all these treasury companies buying up Bitcoin and Ethereum and Bonk, apparently. But you don't hear of many having to, so far none of them have been selling, right? You don't hear stories about selling. Whereas here's one that has. And like, imagine if even if Strategy sold 10 Bitcoin, that would just change the game. Even though it's only 10 to their hundreds of thousands,
it would change the
They
view.
would be like, oh man, so they can sell. It's not where it's not a lifetime asset like Saylor keeps suggesting. And obviously this isn't Strategy. This is, what was this company again? Genius or something. But yeah, it's an interesting idea that I think it's an important lesson people understand that companies will sell when they need to, and people talking about super cycles and it's going up forever, Laura. It's just inevitable that people, companies aren't going to hold on to this thing and go completely broke, but still have their Bitcoin, on their ledger or whatever. No, they're going to sell their Bitcoin if they have to, and price will go down and people get spooked and they'll sell it even if they don't have to, and they just want to, they've got fiduciary obligations to their shareholders to have the right balance of assets in their book, and at some point Bitcoin's not going to be the right asset according to whatever their strategy is, and they're going to have to sell.
Well, we shall find out after December when the top's in,
That's right.
as discussed by you.
Yeah, as promised by me.
As guaranteed by
Yes, that's right.
Definitely not guaranteed.
I'll put it on the blockchain, so it's
Let's put a timestamp of every prediction. Phil. There's not even a Phil in this room. Why did I say Phil? Sorry, Phil, if you're out there listening. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Nick. Feels like, oh, thanks, man. Okay, next one. Philippines Senator Bam Aquino said this week he wants to put the national budget records on blockchain. At least a little bit akin to, I guess, what the Americans have just done.
I guess so.
And moving on, in South Korea, frustration is growing over the slow pace of stablecoin legislation. Wow. So it's not. Well, there you go.
That's what I was talking about before. I thought it was Japan. Yeah, it's South Korea. I mean, those guys have a thriving crypto economy kind of thing. We've got a lot of South Korean customers actually, which is kind of interesting, right? Because you think the South Korean people would go to their own exchanges, but
well, I think the issue is in like Bithumb or whatever the big exchange there is that they, for whatever reason, I guess probably to do with North Korea or whatever, they've only got 4 exchanges because effectively the government says, I mean, we couldn't probably realistically we probably couldn't set up there if we wanted to, because you wouldn't get it. The government says no, we've got 4 because we can control 4. And as far as I'm aware, you can't actually do crypto withdrawals. So the Koreans love crypto. We know this because we see them all the time. But for them to do crypto, like Koreans, they kind of have to go and set up elsewhere overseas to do their various projects.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of our Korean crypto customers are set up into our Singapore entity because it's geographically close, sort of in the Asian hub. But yeah, sorry, I've forgotten what your
It wasn't a question, so I guess I was just talking generally about the
No, we were talking about the stablecoin legislation.
taking too long.
Are we showing Ben Affleck again?
I think so.
Okay. No.
Oh.
Okay. Cool. Sorry. This is Ben Affleck. Oh, I see. This must be an old thing. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I was talking about it before. Everyone wants a piece of this stablecoin pie, and they're taking too long in South Korea. They're going to get left behind. No, they're not. Australia's going to get left behind. That's who's going to get left behind.
No, we're making sure we're getting left behind.
Yeah.
By
We're in
having
fact
no
doing
interest
the opposite.
whatsoever.
We're saying like we hate stablecoins.
Yeah, like we're
and-
just like we're not even pretending that we care.
No, we do care, but to the opposite side. We're not trying to like foster
reverse care.
Yeah, we're reverse care. We're gonna outlaw all stablecoins. They're all securities. No one can list them anymore.
Well, hopefully some good news about that's going to change at some point. Okay,
And it will.
Oh, it will when everyone else
That's
is doing it.
guaranteed.
So last one before we give a quick plug for our coming back for our Moonshot next week. The media outlet Pusan Ilbo reports that all 4 stablecoin draft laws submitted to the National Assembly over the past few months are stuck at the committee stage. There you go. That's the problem. That's why it's stuck.
Yeah, I guess there's just too much talk and not enough action. And this is, like with Trump, with all his faults, I feel like he kind of pushes through those roadblocks. Like things don't get stuck in the committee phase when he says something needs to get done. And lo and behold, back in August, 2 weeks early or whatever, we had the stablecoin, the Clarity bill come through. Clarity and what was the other one? I can't remember. Stable? Maybe it's called Stable. No, Genius. The Genius Act. Yeah, Clarity and Genius Act just get pushed through and to my surprise.
Yeah, well, as the old saying goes, if you want to kill something, put it to a committee. I'm pretty sure I've definitely heard that before. I didn't come up with it.
No.
And I
sounds
believe
legit.
it. All right, we're done. You know what? But we're not done because we have to give...
Just kidding.
I had you.
Sorry, you thought you could log off?
Well, you can't go just yet because first of all, we need to give, obviously, the Moonshot a plug because that's the show that we've been doing. So if you haven't liked and subscribed or shared, you should probably do it.
Yeah, and I think we've said
Nick will
this.
say something that you don't like.
Yeah, that's right. I'll whatever coin you have, I'll start shitting on it. No, I think we've said this in previous weeks as well. Like, happy to we read all your comments. If you've got any questions or want us to talk about something specific, totally happy to do that. Don't be a stranger. If you don't like to do comments on the thing, you can send me an email, nick@independentreserve.com. We'll see all your emails as well. Please reach out on Twitter, on Facebook, on whatever. And any suggestions we have, because we love sort of diving into, juicier topics as well, or concepts even. So we're happy to do that. If you've got any questions about anything, please.
Yeah, I think we should go.
But I think, as you said, next week we've got something we're going to chat about. The layer 1, layer 2 stuff.
Yeah, we had a question about just the activity, noticing the different activities across chains and how that all works, kind of stuff. So we'll dive into that. All right. Do we need to give a shout out to anyone? Like Dave? Well, actually, Dave wrote back to us and said he didn't fall over after we gave him a comment.
Dan?
Nor did Dave.
Dan?
Dan didn't fall off his. Fall off his treadmill.
Yeah, okay.
Dave didn't just buckle at the knees. So I guess that doesn't work.
Okay.
But is anyone else we need to give a shout out to before we go?
Probably just Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Thanks for listening. Thanks for agreeing to play Nick.
Yeah, no worries. And just share to your 7 million followers.
And give us a plug. Thanks, cool. Leo. See you, mate.